Welcome, Greek U Nation, to episode number 565 of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Mike Ayalon, CEO of Greek University. I'm a speaker and an author. Our sixth book just came out. It's called I'm So Beautiful, It's Ridiculous: Unleashing and Promoting Strength, Self-Worth, and Real Sisterhood. So go and pick up that book on Amazon or Barnes & Noble today. We call these episodes the Fraternity Foodie Podcast because there is nothing like great food to bring college students together. Fun fact, I'm actually a political news junkie, and I can clearly see how overwhelming the news can be to anybody on the planet if you watch it every single day like I do. I am grateful that Gen Z is here because I know in working with these students every single day, they want to make this world a better place. That gives me so much comfort. You have no idea. Our next guest is going to teach you how to step into your power to create that positive change in the world, which we both want, without feeling overwhelmed, which is exactly what we all need right now. Tracy Latz, MD, is an integrative psychiatrist, a multidimensional healer, and has served as an associate clinical faculty member in the Department of Psychiatry at the Wake Forest University School of Medicine. She holds a master's degree in Immuno-Biology, doctorates in medicine, metaphysics, and holistic healing, certificates in mind-body medicine, and is currently in her own solo private practice in a suburb of Charlotte, North Carolina, with over 20 years of clinical experience in shifting lives. Welcome to the show, Dr. Latz.
Oh, thank you so much for having me here. I really enjoy working with this group of folks.
Well, me too. That's why I've dedicated the rest of my life on planet Earth to do exactly that. I believe in the future and I believe in these students. They're just absolutely incredible. They're incredibly motivated despite all the bad things that people will say about them online. And it's just an honor to work with them every single day. Now, they might be a little bit light on patience, okay? That's probably the only negative part that I see. And that's because of the cell phones and social media and what we've done to them, okay? Let's be very clear. But I'm grateful that they are here. Now, speaking of college students, you chose Wake Forest not only for your undergraduate experience, but then later you went back to get your MD there as well. And I am sure, I am 100% positive you had a bunch of choices in terms of where you were going to go to college. So I'm wondering, why did you choose Wake Forest?
I loved the fact that it was a bit smaller. It was intellectually challenging, but had a good social mix going on there. And I was very active in all sorts of groups and activities on campus. So it was a perfect fit for me. They also gave me a very good financial package, which was great. Of course, I have a pet pterodactyl, so it didn't cost as much then as it does now.
You're exaggerating. All right. You did not go to school when the pterodactyls were on the earth.
I don't know. I started at Wake in 1979. I've been
That's
in practice for a
fantastic.
while.
Well, yeah, I tell you what, you look great, so don't even worry anything about that. That is fantastic. Well, good for you. That is awesome. And Wake Forest is a fantastic school. I mean, some of the brightest students that I work with are from Wake Forest. They certainly have a very thriving fraternity and sorority community. There's no question about that. So we love
Oh,
them.
thanks.
Very good. Now, college students today, they are reporting record levels of anxiety and stress. You can actually see it on their faces. They're also not sleeping enough, so that's a whole nother thing that's going on right now. What are some quick practical tools that college students can use every day to manage that anxiety, especially before the final exams that are coming up in the next week or two, presentations that they have to make at the end of the semester, or even interviews as they move into the real world?
There are some great tools. I teach just about all of the patients, students, people I work with, my colleagues love. The first is called the Qigong emotional release. It's for any overwhelming emotion. Could be for anxiety, guilt, anger, shame, whatever. All you do is you rank it 0 to 10. And obviously, if it's 0, you're not going to do anything. The other thing that you do once you rank it, you forget about it. And all you're doing is tapping on 4 points. This is based on Qigong. So you're tapping on each of what's called the 4 dantians, or major energy centers. The first is the top of the head, second is the forehead, third is the center of the heart, not over heart proper, and the fourth is 2 or 3 finger widths below the belly button. Very simple. And you're just saying the sounds of some Chinese characters as you tap, and you tap on the syllable Song Kong Tong Bing Xuan Yu. That's all. Song Kong Tong Bing Xuan Yu. So rank, forget about it, tap, and you tap 4 to 6 times. I always say you have another hand, so you can count it as you're doing it, Song Kong Tong Bing Xuan Yu, etc., and do it all 5 times here, 5 times here, 5 times here, 5 times below the belly button. Take a deep releasing breath and re-rank it. And a number of people, high number of people, will go from a 10, if that's where they were, to a 0, or a 10 to a 4. It's very quick. Once you know how to do it, it takes about 90 seconds. For people who want to see the demo, I post a lot of things for free because I want people to have tools. So if you go to Shift Your Life TV on YouTube and look up Qigong, Qigong, emotional release technique, on that YouTube channel, you'll find it, and we carry you through it. It's very powerful. So that's a big game changer for a number of folks. Secondly, using tools like earthing or grounding. The earth is naturally releasing ions from its surface. And if we are well hydrated and have our feet or bare skin connected to the earth, those negative ions will travel up through our body and go to any area of inflammation, which is positively charged, and neutralize it. Why is that important? Because when we have high cortisol due to stress, it's often due to inflammation and irritation in the body. Often anxiety, depression even can be due to inflammation in the gut, because while everyone knows the SSRI antidepressants, the serotonin ones, that are all very popular, they affect our ability in the brain and the mood center to see serotonin. Most of our serotonin is actually made around our gut. So if you can decrease inflammation in the gut, you make it happy, and you're actually making more serotonin, and you can improve your sleep, lower your cortisol, stress hormone, and you can improve your mood. It's really so simple. It's free. If you're going to be studying, a lot of folks will go kind of outside in the quad at Wake, but wherever you are, go put your bare feet on the ground. For people who are nervous about bare feet on the ground anywhere, they make earthing or grounding little mats for fairly cheap that you can find on Amazon, that wonderful site where now we have so much competition, the prices have gone down. And what it takes is earthing or grounding for 50 minutes per day to have that sustained effect. And for folks who are going to forget, they make earthing sheets where you can just sleep earthed. But if you get a grounding mat while you're studying at your computer, you can have your bare feet on the mat, and the little plug goes into the grounding hole, the round hole of the 3-prong plug. And if the place is made to code, those negative ions are coming up the grounding wires in the dorm or the house or wherever you are, and they are being emitted off the mat, so you get the same effect.
That's incredible. I'll go and check out that video on your YouTube channel. That sounds really good. 90 seconds. Everybody's got 90 seconds in their day to do something like that. And the grounding absolutely works. I do that every single day over my lunch break. I'll take off my shoes and I'll go for a walk in our yard. And I tell you what, it absolutely works, and it gets me ready for the second half of the day. There's no question.
Something else that's really helpful that I'm telling a lot of people about, but I'm not your doc, I'm not your psychiatrist, whoever's listening, but I find this very helpful. Rhodiola rosea. It's a natural supplement. I would look for an organic one. Huge study showed that it was as effective as 5 milligrams Ritalin for focus and attention. But unlike Ritalin, it doesn't make you anxious or jittery. It doesn't keep you up at night. And it also improves executive functioning, which no attentional agent that I have access to in psychiatry actually does that. I've used it with some kids with autism, with executive functioning issues. It's really helpful. It interacts with a couple of meds out there, a lot of people who are on blood thinners, which is not likely your crowd, but could be, who knows.
Mm.
And so if you're on other meds, check with someone. The second thing it does, and did so amazingly, is it boosts your resilience to stress. So much so, and it supports the mood, calming and lifting mood, that they're looking at it now in studies for PTSD. So that could be something, and that you don't have to take every day. You could just take it on a day where you think it's going to be one of those more stressful days. And it really does have that calming effect and give you the ability to see the big picture, not in an overwhelming way, but kind of see it, organize it, sequence it, and move through it. So it can be very helpful. There's also I've seen recently a super mushroom, not psychedelic, also on Amazon. You can find a non-psychedelic, but what is it? A super mushroom blend daily gummies. And that also can pick up energy level for a number of folks, help with focus and help with gut upset. And so that can be helpful too. I'm telling a lot of people about that just for tools for
Yeah,
people to
wow, that's
try.
great. I'm learning a whole lot of new tools today. I'm gonna have to go and buy a bunch of stuff on Amazon after this interview. This is great. Now let's talk a little bit about relationships because that really is what college is all about. You're living with roommates, you're dating new people, you're working in group projects for classes. There's relationships everywhere on a college
Yes.
campus. What are the four love connections that you teach, and how could knowing them help these students to build better friendships and partnerships?
Well, for partnerships, if you have a love interest, a lot of people are kind of beating themselves up if they say, that relationship didn't work out. How can I tell earlier on that it's a good match? Well, in the four realms of connectedness in a love relationship, we look at physical, and often young people, that's what they're focused on. Ooh, I like how they look. They look
Mhm.
sexy. They're hot, whatever. So, that's the vroom vroom, the desire body, that physicalness. Everyone kind of has a type often that they're attracted to. But
Mhm.
there are other realms. Is the emotional realm, which is, do they get me? Is it where, we can walk into a party from opposite sides with a bunch of people and kind of catch each other's eyes, see something going on in the room, make sort of a look, and we know without saying a word what's going on. Or we tell a joke, and other people, if they're like, I don't get it, it's that they don't get you. They don't get your vibe, your energy, where you're coming from. That's the emotional connection. Third is intellectual. Do we like the same intellectual topics? Can we hold a good conversation? Do we both enjoy talking about similar things or like the same sort of books or movies? A lot of people will connect on physical and they're like, I can't talk to them about anything. They're like, I don't know what you're talking about. So being able to connect on that, it's like this magnetic connection, each of these points. The last is spiritual. And often at a younger age, many people kind of, they're like, that's not my bailiwick. That, my parents were into religion. I don't know what that's about. But as we become older, it
Mhm.
becomes more and more important. And I've found in a lot of younger people, after pandemic in particular, where people were so isolated and began to say, what's the whole point of being here, kind of things. There are younger people who are more connected or more seeking in that spiritual realm. But when you have all four connections, it makes it much more difficult for a third person to come in and kind of be vroom vroomy, all dressed up, looking great, and make someone have an interest there. So the more connections you have, the stronger that ongoing, long-lasting relationship will be. So that's wonderful. With friends and groups, I often will tell people to look at what's called the loving benefactor meditation and exercise. Again, I did a video on that YouTube channel, Shift Your Life TV, because it is so powerful. I've seen it shift relationships where people can have conversations, get past resentments, get past where we don't agree and have what's called a heart to heart conversation. Because what that really means is I am in a compassionate stance in my heart, and you are too. I can't make someone else be in their heart, but I can be in one. And when I'm in my heart, I won't bite at the hooks someone gives me. I won't be in my reactive self. I won't be in anxiety. It's great for doing interviews. It's great for speaking before crowds, because when you're in that place and you're in your heart, you're not in the monkey mind. You're not in all of the anxiety and the chatter. And you really, in a way, connect with your own soul to allow yourself to be a channel for your own wisdom to step through. So it's really great. It's very simple. You essentially bring to mind someone that represents unconditional love and compassion to you. Could be from childhood, could be from now. I caution people not to choose someone they're currently actively grieving or just had a fight with, because it may bring up the grief more than the compassion. But when you bring this up, and for some people who say, everyone hurts me, I'll say, how about a pet or an animal or a little kid that is in your life that you really find that compassionate connection? But you picture them as if they're sitting or standing in front of you right now, and you look deeply into their eyes and you sense all of their love and compassion flowing over to you, and you allow yourself to receive it without judgment. And some people will say, I have to send love to them first. That's just my way. Go ahead, do that. Send your love over. It'll be like a light shining around them, and you'll see them respond, but look deeper into their eyes, and you'll sense the depth of their love and compassion. Then you continue to sit with that, and they're still here, but they slowly now move around your left side until they're behind your left shoulder. And now, if you've had your eyes closed picturing that, you can open your eyes and you'll still feel them, and you can go about your day with them behind you. Now I can talk to you, and while I'm sitting here talking to you, my loving benefactor is sending compassion to me. It's also sending compassion to you. And people who are talking to you will kind of feel a bit of a shift. They won't know what it is, but they'll just say, you're so approachable.
Hmm.
You're so open. It would, and it really makes you have more magnetic resonance with whoever you're having an interview with, whoever you're talking to, and it can be very, very helpful.
Wow, great tips. Really fantastic. I love all of it. Now, not all the relationships go a great direction. Sometimes you might be dealing with somebody who is toxic. It could be a roommate, it could be a toxic friend in your friend circle, maybe even a toxic professor. So, how can they use your La Cucaracha technique to protect peace without escalating the situation?
Excellent. First off, before I comment on that, if you're in an abusive situation, do not try and do something to protect your energies to tolerate it. Do not tolerate being abused. If that's emotional, physical, sexual, that is not a healthy place to be. Lots of compassion to you, but it's time. You deserve better. So if that's not going on, there's a couple of things. First, I teach people the Woji, which is, it's funny, it's a Qigong effect to protect your energies from kind of people who are sending energetic darts at you, hate mail energetically. And what you can do is if you open your hands just at your side or in your lap, I'm holding it here so you can see, feel how vulnerable you feel And then take your thumbs, put it in the palm gently. We're not punching anybody. Gently wrap your fingers around your thumbs in your palm and feel how vulnerable you feel. Try that back and forth. And what you'll find is this feels stronger. And there's a reason. It's a Qigong practice. It protects your energies. And you don't have to do this up here. You could have it under the table, by your side. If you're giving a talk, it could be using one hand, or you can take your toes and sort of grab at the ground, even if you're in shoes, just kind of lean forward just a little bit, grab it, and it's like the earth comes up and helps have a shield to protect your energies a little bit. Now, the La Cucaracha technique, La Cucaracha means the cockroach. So doesn't mean we're going to think we're going to stomp on them and squish them. What it means is when these people come in, we immediately walk into a room, or they come into a room, and we're tensed all up and we're ready for a fight, and we're kind of like this, and we're easily going to bite a hook or go to our reactive, angry, guilty, frightened self. So instead, to get into a more calmer stance, what you can do is look at them when they come into the room and see them as if they're a giant cockroach or a giant ant. Because while we don't like them being in our house or whatever, we don't take it personally that they're doing what they're doing, because they're doing what they do. That's their consciousness. So when you see them, their upper, their arms are the upper legs, and then imagine there's a second set of legs coming out their midriff, and then they have their lower legs. Imagine they have these giant antennae, and that they're dressed wearing their human clothes over that, and you'll instantly just kind of try not to laugh, and they may go, "What's so funny?" Nothing. It's just an inside joke I had with someone. Just if you're going into, say, going back to an event or a family reunion where you want to see everybody, but there's this one person there who may really be annoying, and another person is going with you, and they know this person gets you to just lose it. They can be your wing person, and they can come up next to you if they see that you're getting tense, and just start humming La Cucaracha, La Cucaracha, and you'll instantly just kind of soften up and be like, okay, it's a great way to move through things.
Yeah, that's great advice, because there's always that one cockroach at a cocktail party, and you're like, oh boy, here we go. It always seems to happen.
Yeah.
But that's a really good tip. I've never heard that, and I will definitely use that next time. It's so interesting about you, because you have this incredible background where you're clearly blending Western medicine with holistic approaches. I mean, anybody can see that talks to you for 5 or 10 minutes. You're like, all right, I get it. So, what are some of the simple holistic practices that students can start using today in order to feel more energized, more focused, and resilient without, let's say, using like the gummies and the other things? Is there anything else they could be doing?
There is, you can use, there are aromatherapies,
Mm,
lavender is one that most people know about. They make sprays for you to spray on your pillow. They make aromatherapy necklaces that have spaces where it can hold the oil but not be, you know, all over you.
right.
And you can just have it in your aura, because it will have the same effect,
Yeah.
just to be within your energy system. Lavender is calming. So is orange blossom oil. I've had folks incredibly angry or incredibly upset with PTSD in my office, and they can't hear anything because they're in that primitive brain, just, starting to go back into their trauma. And all I had to do was go reach over, get orange blossom, and go, here, smell. And they would just calm. It's calming to what I say is the inner child, or for people who understand the chakras, it's the second chakra area, but it just has a calming effect to that. I like it. For energizing and focus, peppermint oil.
Hmm.
Often when I'm studying or I need to kind of stay up and do some things, you can get just a little bit on your finger. Now, some people are like, it burns me. So if you take it and you put a little dot just under your nose, above your lip, It can open up sinuses, which could be helpful this time of year with allergies.
Hmm.
And it also can help with focus. Now, if you're sensitive to it, you could, again, either burn it in some of those diffusers, uh, or you could put it in one of those lockets or necklaces, or put it just somewhere around you where you can smell it. My sister used to look for peppermint candles, which strangely only seems to come out around, the Christmas
Christmas.
holidays.
Yeah.
Also, lemon. Lemon seems to have a pickup effect. Now, there is a point that is under the collarbone. It's the 27th point of the kidney meridian. And if you come under the collarbone and then come towards the breastbone, but not on it, and you really kind of dig in with thumbs or make little thumpers, peckers with your hands, you could tap on it. It will, when you stimulate it, wake up. You almost feel your eyes kind of want to go boop. It'll pick up your energy level. It's great if you're driving and you're like, oh, I'm kind of tired, but there's no place to pull over and sleep or get coffee. You can thump on that area and it can kind of help uh, keep you up and going and focused. And a lot of kids that I see in my practice who have ADHD and maybe taking ADD meds that are wearing off towards that last part of the day, that can be a way of just kind of taking notes with one hand and stimulating the kidney meridian at the 27th point with the other and be able to stay a little bit more focused. The first point of the kidney meridian, which is called the wellspring of life, is on the ball of the foot, or right behind it. If this were my foot, okay, really long toes, I guess. If you go to the bones right underneath where your toes are, but you come just below that, right in that sort of pit right below, you can stimulate it and it will pick up energy level, motivation. You can either try and stimulate it that way or get some peppermint on and put it on your foot there.
Hmm.
It'll kind of start waking you up and get you going. So
Yeah, that aromatherapy definitely works. I've seen that work with for me for sure. So that's really good. And next time I feel myself kind of getting drowsy behind the wheel, I'm going to give that a shot and see if that works because that's fantastic. Really good stuff. Now, you've also spoken about connecting with the group soul of the nation. College students today clearly want to make a difference, but I'm telling you, they feel powerless at times. How can they step into that power to create positive change in the world without feeling so overwhelmed?
that is so important right now. I've seen colleagues, I've seen patients, students, my daughter, and one of my sons. My kids are now 31, 29, 27,
Mm.
and they uh, two of the three of them have really been struggling with this. The other one's like, I'm too busy. I'm just doing what I do. Uh, it is a struggle, but there is a way, especially if you use like the loving benefactor to get into your heart, because then we're not in our head. So that's the first thing. When we are in our heart, we become this direct channel to connect with our own soul. And once you understand from a spiritual aspect, I am you and you are me. When I am connected clearly to my own soul, I am immediately connected to everyone else's. So I can connect to the group soul of the nation. I can connect to a soul of another person. I've taught classes in that, do intuitive art, where it's done connecting with your own soul or someone else's, and you can literally have information flow through this way. But because of so many people being in distress, I started the end of February uh, a thing that was the magical battle of America, because everyone's so freaked out no matter what side you're on at this point.
Mhm.
Everyone's kind of like, what's going on? Where are we going? Uh, it is modeling itself after what was called the magical battle of Britain that was done back in World War II. And at that point, there was a group of people who gathered together, not in one place because they were being bombed. It was in London during the Blitz. And what they were doing was doing a specific meditation to connect, and to connect not with consciousness, because consciousness can be manipulated through misinformation, through social groups. You know, now on social media, if you go on something, you no longer see everybody who's on your friend list. You only see this logarithm of people who seem to resonate with whatever you're posting, which can be misleading because a lot of people think everyone thinks this way when in fact they don't. So when you get above consciousness and you go to group soul then can trickle down and leave what I call seeds of light to energize people being in a more compassionate stance, to hear each other, to energize concepts with focused intention. And when you do that, it's not, I'm going to go up there and have them do this. It literally, because at a soul level, we're all connected and we can see the beauty in everyone, no matter what they're storming around in consciousness here. So, what we're energizing is whatever is for the greatest, highest good, whatever outcome for the group soul of the nation, the group soul of humanity and the world. And so, it's kind of a highly metaphysical concept, but it's very powerful. And a number of people go, I'm so much calmer knowing there actually is something that I can do.
So
And
cool.
so, I created, first it was going to be a Facebook group, but people are like, I don't want to be on Facebook, and then I said Discord and people are like, I don't know what that is. I was like, okay, hold on. So I just created a landing page, and it's the magical battle of America. And you can hunt for it. And we update weekly what the focused intention is. And, it's become metaphysical. First, we were energizing just core concepts, balanced equality, you know, uh, sort of discretion, rule of law, because that anything that's part of what's in our Constitution, what the forefathers thought, and had they followed it to begin with, all of these things, we wouldn't even have had slavery going on. But,
Mm.
we can't go back and change that, but we can have an impact now. So.
Yeah. I want to ask you one last question about mental health because I think it's something that we don't talk about often enough. I think this generation is a little bit better than our generation in terms of talking about mental health. So that's good. I think we're making progress. But if you could wave a magic wand and then change one thing about how young adults and college students approach mental health, what do you think that would be?
I think it would be to honor mental health as your biggest commodity. When you think, I want to do this in art, or I want to go and do this in engineering, and we think the biggest, most important thing is our intellect. Our mental health is the portal through which we interact with the world and we perceive the world. And to honor that and to be aware of situations, people that put that at risk, it is so important for self care that you honor your own truth, your own knowing, your own spirit. And when your friends are starting to get anxious to the point where it's interfering with their life. I've had people where they start having obsessive thoughts and then they have obsessive thoughts and rituals, which if it's just a little bit, some people are like, yeah, I tidy up things before exams and I have to do this, but it goes away after. When it does not go away and it is consuming more and more of your waking day, it becomes dysfunctional. And
Mhm.
let's face it, we're at the highest level of suicide in all classes. Young people, it's huge, and even in older people, and in certain cultural groups, it seems to be rising. And part of that is because everyone is sort of poo-pooed and put it on the back, pull up your big panties and just be stronger. You know, reach out. There is help out there. There are all sorts of tools. There's online access. I know a lot of us psychiatrists, I've been around for 35 years doing what I do. And we're not as many as we used to be for whatever reason. That's another whole show. But you can reach therapists, you can reach psychiatrists, online. You can go to your mental health center on campus. And if they don't have a psychiatrist, as sadly, a number of them sort of in some areas around here have not, you can reach out online. Please reach out, because you are beautiful and you are worthy and you truly have gifts to share with the world. When we get into that dark hole, it doesn't feel that way. But when you can see and connect with someone and look deep into their eyes, the beauty and the gifts that each person has, each person. And I've worked with some folks that have done some interesting things and will be on backwards of psychiatric units the rest of their life. And I can see the beauty even in the souls of these people. There are gifts and talents you have that are unique to you. So honor that. You have so much ahead of you, so much ahead of you, and so much beauty. Reach out.
That's fantastic. That's a great way to leave this interview. Now, I do get to your area of the country very often. I just came back from speaking at High Point University, which is a wonderful institution there. And one of my fraternity brothers lives in Charlotte, North Carolina. So I get to your area quite often, and I usually stay at his house when I'm speaking at some of the local universities. So the next time, I know you're in the suburbs there of Charlotte, but next time I get to that area, where should I go for a great bite to eat?
Well, what I hear in Charlotte, there's a place called Angeline's, and apparently they're very creative with some Italian foods there. I have not yet been, but I've heard enough good
Oh,
things that I'd like to go. I'm a little bit north of Charlotte in Mooresville,
yep.
in Lake Norman area. I like, if you like a steak, Epic Chop House. It actually abuts to the building my office for my psychiatric practice is in. They make very good steaks. And if you're doing a special occasion, there's a newer little place called what is it? The Savannah Oyster Company, which is new and I've heard great things about. I've eaten at it once. Very good food. It is seafood. For folks who, again, like Italian, I like Novanta 90, which has a Mooresville address, but it's a little bit closer to Charlotte.
Hmm.
What I like about it is it's an original Italian family, and they have actually shipped over a lot of the ingredients straight from Italy. So it really is authentic Italian style.
Excellent, excellent choices there. I'm going to have to go and spend a week to eat at all of these great restaurants, but I don't mind that. I search out good food, so those are some excellent recommendations. Thank you so much. So, if our listeners, if they want to shift their life and they want to get your book or they want to sign up for your online courses, where should they go?
Best place to go to kind of find everything is shiftyourlife.com. You can find books and meditations that come out of the book. Bye Bye Self Sabotage, Drop Your Baggage, Love Your Life, where a lot of these tips are in there, not all of them, but there are some other tools that are in there. You can find that on Amazon. We also have online courses. For people who say, I need someone to carry me through all of those modules, we have an intensive online class you can access through the shiftyourlife.com if you're interested in different podcast discussions and looking at some tips on video. Then again, that Shift Your Life TV on the YouTube channel. And we have some podcasts on Spotify.
Fantastic. Shiftyourlife.com. Go and check out all of those YouTube videos. I think those are going to be especially helpful at Shift Your Life TV. So go and check out that channel. Dr. Latz, let me tell you, you are a gift to the world. Thank you so much for spending time with us today.
Thank you, Dr. Ireland, for having me here. You too are a gift to the world and to this community. So I honor you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that so much. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed this time with Dr. Latz, I want you to like and I want you to share this interview with other college students on your campus. I think it's really, really important. And I tell you what, I feel better already just talking to Dr. Latz for 30 minutes. So I know you and your classmates will too. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you on the next episode of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. Bye for now.